Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at this really fascinating convergence of technology and culture and what the future might look like with these new technologies.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time to be looking at all this stuff. It seems like every day there's something new coming out.
Let's start with the big one. Everybody's talking about artificial intelligence,
Oh,
AI.
AI. Yeah, AI is definitely having its moment. And it's not just hype. We're seeing real, tangible advancements in fields like machine learning and natural language processing that are starting to have a significant impact on how we live and work.
Exactly. And one of the areas where AI is poised to have the biggest impact is the job market. And this is something that a lot of people are understandably anxious about.
Yeah, for sure. The sources we're looking at today paint a pretty vivid picture of this potential disruption. We're seeing predictions of professions like coding, law, accounting, marketing becoming increasingly automated.
And some even suggest that AI could eventually lead to a post-capitalist world where energy costs are near zero, essentially making many goods and services free.
Right. It's a fascinating idea, and it raises all sorts of questions about what that kind of world would look like. How would we structure our society if traditional work was no longer necessary? How would we find meaning and purpose in a world of abundance?
And is that even a realistic possibility? I mean, it sounds almost utopian.
Well, it's definitely a bold vision, and there are certainly plenty of skeptics, but it's important to consider these possibilities and to start thinking critically about the potential social and economic consequences of these technological advancements.
Absolutely. And speaking of disruptive technologies, let's move on to another topic that's been making waves lately, cryptocurrencies, and specifically the rise of meme coins.
Meme coins. It's amazing how something that started as an internet joke could potentially have such a significant impact on the financial landscape.
Right. Who would have thought that Dogecoin would become a multi-billion-dollar asset?
And it's not just Dogecoin. We're seeing a proliferation of meme coins, many of which are tied to specific cultural trends or even individuals.
Like the Trump coins that one source mentions.
Exactly. It's fascinating how these meme coins function as these unusual cultural barometers, almost like a form of gambling on emerging trends.
And the sources raise some interesting questions about the potential for meme coins to be used for political manipulation.
Yeah, there's definitely a concern there, especially as we've seen with the rise of social media, how easily information can be manipulated and spread online.
So how do meme coins fit into the broader crypto landscape? I mean, how are they similar to and different from something like Bitcoin?
That's a great question, and it's one that the sources grapple with as well. On the surface, both Bitcoin and meme coins can be described as cryptocurrencies. They both utilize blockchain technology, and they both have the potential to be used as a form of payment.
But their contexts and implications are vastly different.
Precisely, Bitcoin is often viewed as a store of value, a hedge against inflation, and even a potential alternative to traditional financial systems.
Whereas meme coins seem to be more about riding the wave of a specific cultural moment, which can be incredibly volatile and unpredictable.
Exactly, and that volatility is precisely what makes them appealing to some, especially those seeking quick profits.
But it also makes them incredibly risky.
Absolutely. The sources we're looking at today argue that while both Bitcoin and meme coins can be described in similar terms, their underlying prefaces and how people interact with them are fundamentally different.
Bitcoin is often seen as a foundational technology, a building block for a new decentralized financial system, whereas meme coins are more speculative and tied to fleeting cultural trends.
Right. It's an important distinction to keep in mind, and it speaks to the broader challenges of understanding and navigating this rapidly evolving crypto landscape.
Absolutely. And it's not just about understanding the technologies themselves. It's about grappling with their potential social, economic, and even political implications.
Exactly. These technologies are not operating in a vacuum. They're intertwined with our culture, our values, and our systems of power.
Yeah.
And it's crucial that we approach them with a critical and nuanced perspective.
Well said. And that brings us to another key theme that emerges from these sources, the search for meaning and purpose in a world that's undergoing such rapid technological change.
Right. I mean, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and even a bit existential when you consider the pace of change and the potential disruption that these technologies are bringing.
Especially when you see predictions of widespread job displacement and the rise of automation. It can be unsettling to think about what the future holds.
For sure. But the sources also offer some glimmers of hope. They suggest that this period of technological disruption can also be an opportunity for a kind of spiritual awakening, a chance to redefine our relationship with work and to find meaning and purpose beyond our traditional roles in the workforce.
One source talks about the importance of family and community in a potentially dehumanized future.
Right, and there's a quote from a thought leader that really resonated with me. He says, "Find joy in the present moment and pursue activities for the love of the chase, not just the end goal."
It's a powerful reminder that even amidst these sweeping technological advancements, we have the agency to define what truly matters to us and to cultivate a life that aligns with those values.
Absolutely, and I think that's a message that's particularly relevant for our listeners today. As we navigate this complex and ever-changing landscape, it's important to remember that we have the power to shape our own future and to create a world that is both technologically advanced and deeply human. It's interesting how that idea of finding meaning kind of ties into this whole globalism versus individualism thing that's going on.
Yeah, one of the sources brings up a tweet that said, globalism is civilizational suicide. It's a pretty strong statement.
Definitely. It definitely seems like there's this tension building between those who see global interconnectedness as a positive thing and those who see it as a threat.
Right, and it's interesting how technology plays into all of this.
Yeah.
I mean, on the one hand, technology has been a major driver of globalization, connecting people and economies across borders like never before.
Yeah, think about the internet and social media. They've made it so much easier to communicate and collaborate with people all over the world.
Exactly. But at the same time, those same technologies can also be used to amplify division and spread misinformation.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We've seen that with the rise of online echo chambers and the proliferation of fake news. It can make it really hard to know what to believe sometimes.
Absolutely. So it seems like technology can both connect and divide us. It's kind of a paradox.
It is. It's this weird double-edged sword. And it's one of the things that makes this whole conversation about globalism versus individualism so complex.
So where do AI and crypto fit into all of this?
Well, AI, with its ability to automate tasks and create new efficiencies, could further accelerate globalization. I mean, it could make it even easier for businesses to operate across borders and for individuals to connect and collaborate remotely.
So it could break down geographical barriers even further.
Exactly. But on the other hand, as we were talking about earlier, AI could also lead to job displacement and social unrest, which could potentially fuel a backlash against globalization.
Right? People might start to feel like they're losing control over their lives and their communities, and that could lead to a rise in nationalism and protectionism.
Yeah, it's a real possibility. And then you have crypto, which throws another wrench into the works. On the one hand, crypto can be seen as a tool for global financial inclusion. I mean, it allows individuals to bypass traditional financial institutions and participate in a global economy regardless of their location or background.
So it could empower individuals and potentially weaken the control of nation states.
Exactly. But it also has the potential to disrupt existing power structures and challenge the authority of central banks and governments.
So it's kind of this wild card that could either accelerate globalization or lead to a more fragmented and decentralized world.
Right. It's hard to say for sure which way it will go, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I mean, it's clear that we're in the midst of a period of profound transformation, not just technologically, but also socially, economically, and politically. And these technologies are playing a major role in shaping that transformation.
It's both exciting and a little bit daunting.
It is. But I think the key is to approach it all with a sense of curiosity and a willingness to learn and adapt.
And to remember that we have the power to shape the future. We're not just passive observers.
Right. We have a responsibility to engage with these technologies thoughtfully and to make sure that they're used for good.
Well said. So as we continue to explore this fascinating landscape, let's keep those words in mind. You know, it's interesting, as we've been talking about all of this, it's really striking how AI and crypto, while they might seem like separate things, are actually pretty interconnected.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you think about the whole issue of trust and authenticity in the digital age.
Right. With AI becoming more and more sophisticated, it's getting harder and harder to tell what's real and what's fake.
Exactly. Like deepfakes are a great example. It's getting to the point where you can't even trust your own eyes and ears.
So how do we even begin to address that?
Well, that's where blockchain technology comes in. The same technology that underpins cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin could actually be a key part of the solution.
Really? How so?
Because blockchain is all about transparency and immutability, every transaction is recorded on a public ledger that can't be tampered with, so you can always trace the origin and provenance of information.
So it's like a digital notary.
Exactly. It could provide a way to verify the authenticity of information in a world where manipulation and misinformation are becoming increasingly prevalent.
That's actually a really interesting idea. So you're saying that blockchain could help us trust the information we're consuming, even in a world where AI is generating more and more content.
Precisely. Imagine a future where news articles, research papers, even legal documents are generated by AI.
It's kind of mind-blowing.
It is, but blockchain could give us the confidence to know that those documents haven't been altered or manipulated.
So we could actually trust them.
Right, and the applications of blockchain go way beyond just content verification.
Yeah.
It could be used to verify identities, track supply chains, facilitate secure voting systems, all sorts of things.
It sounds like it has the potential to really revolutionize the way we interact with the digital world.
I think so, and I think it's really important that we start having these conversations now because these technologies are evolving so rapidly and they're going to have such a profound impact on our lives.
Well said. And that brings us back to the bigger picture that we've been exploring throughout this deep dive. AI and crypto are these incredibly powerful forces that are reshaping the world around us.
Yeah, and it's both exciting and a little bit scary at the same time.
Definitely. I mean, there are so many potential benefits, but we also need to be mindful of the risks.
Absolutely. We need to be having these conversations about the ethical implications of these technologies and how we can ensure that they're used for good.
I completely agree. And I think the most important thing is to remember that we have a choice. We're not just passive bystanders in all of this.
Right. We have the power to shape the future. We can decide how these technologies are developed and how they're used.
And that's a responsibility that we all share.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a really thought-provoking conversation.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI, crypto, and the future. It's definitely given us a lot to think about.
My pleasure. And for all of you listening out there, thanks for tuning in. We hope you found this discussion as engaging and insightful as we did.
And remember, the future is not set in stone. It's something that we're all creating together. So let's make sure we create a future that we can all be proud of. Thanks for listening.